Hashtag what the rich don't tell you about money. Most people believe that becoming rich is mainly about earning a bigger salary. Work harder. Get promoted. Make more money. Then, eventually, you will become wealthy. But millions of people increase their income and still remain trapped. They earn more, but their expenses rise. They buy a better car, move into a larger house, add new monthly payments, and upgrade everything around them. From the outside, they appear successful. Behind the scenes, they may be one missed paycheck away from a financial crisis. The truth about money is not that wealthy people possess a magical secret. It is that they often understand a different set of rules. They know that income is not wealth. They know that looking rich can prevent you from becoming rich. They know that debt can either create opportunities or quietly destroy your future. They know that the person who controls an asset usually has more power than the person who simply works around it. And they know that time can be more valuable than money itself. In this video, you are going to discover the money principles that many people learn far too late. These are not promises of overnight success. They are not tricks for getting rich without effort. They are ways of thinking that can change how you earn, spend, invest, and protect your money. And the most important truth will come near the end, because it explains why some people continue building wealth even after they stop working harder. Let us begin with the first idea that changes everything. Hashtag the rich know that income is not wealth. Imagine two people. The first person earns $200,000 per year. The second person earns $70,000 per year. Who is richer? Most people would immediately choose the first person. But what if the first person spends $210,000 every year? What if they have an expensive mortgage, several car payments, credit card balances, personal loans, luxury subscriptions, and no meaningful investments? Now imagine that the second person lives below their means, has no destructive debt, owns investments, has an emergency reserve, and increases their net worth every year. The first person has the higher income. The second person may be building more wealth. This is the distinction many people never fully understand. Income is the money flowing into your life. Wealth is what you own after your obligations are subtracted. You can have a high income and a negative net worth. You can have a moderate income and a growing net worth. A large salary can make wealth easier to build, but only when part of that salary is converted into assets. If every dollar is spent, the income creates a lifestyle, not wealth. This is why some professional athletes, entertainers, executives, and business owners can earn millions and still experience financial collapse. Their income may be extraordinary, but their financial structure is weak. The moment the income stops, the lifestyle becomes impossible to maintain. Wealthy people often pay close attention to net worth because it reveals what is happening underneath the appearance. Your net worth is calculated by adding the value of what you own and subtracting what you owe. Cash, investments, business ownership, property equity, retirement accounts, and other valuable assets contribute to net worth. Credit card balances, loans, mortgages, and other obligations reduce it. That calculation can be uncomfortable. But discomfort is useful when it reveals the truth. Someone may own a beautiful car worth $60,000, but if they still owe $55,000, their actual ownership is much smaller than the image suggests. Someone may live in an expensive home, but the bank may still own most of the financial interest in that property. This does not mean houses and cars are always bad decisions. It means possession is not the same as wealth. The wealthy question is not simply, how much can I afford to pay every month? The better question is, how will this decision affect my net worth, cash flow, flexibility, and future opportunities? That question immediately changes how you see money. A monthly payment can make something expensive feel affordable. You may see a car advertised for only $800 per month. But the monthly payment hides the total cost. How long will you make that payment? What is the interest rate? What will the vehicle be worth when the loan ends? How much will insurance, fuel, taxes, repairs, and maintenance cost? What opportunities will you lose because that money is committed every month? A wealthy mindset examines the complete picture. It does not focus only on the payment. And this leads to another truth. The rich do not necessarily avoid spending money. They try to spend money in ways that preserve or increase their freedom. Hashtag looking rich can keep you poor. There is a powerful social pressure to display success before you have actually achieved financial stability. The pressure begins early. Young adults see influencers, celebrities, athletes, and entrepreneurs displaying luxury cars, designer clothing, expensive vacations, large homes, watches, restaurants, and private events. The message is simple. Success should be visible. If people cannot see your wealth, perhaps you are not truly successful. That belief can become financially dangerous. A person may earn their first significant increase in income and immediately feel the need to prove that their life has changed. They replace a reliable car with a luxury vehicle. They move to a more expensive neighborhood. They purchase clothing with recognizable logos. They begin visiting places where a single evening costs what they previously saved in an entire month. None of those choices is automatically wrong. The problem begins when the purchase is motivated by external validation. You are not buying the item because it significantly improves your life. You are buying it because you want other people to create a particular story about you. The story may be, this person is successful. But the financial reality may be, this person is highly dependent on future income. The more expensive your lifestyle becomes, the more pressure you feel to maintain it. You cannot easily change careers. You cannot take time to build a business. You cannot survive a reduction in income. You cannot walk away from a harmful employer. You cannot take a calculated risk. Your luxury purchases become golden handcuffs. They look impressive, but they reduce your options. Real wealth often appears boring from the outside. It may look like an older car that has already been paid for. It may look like a modest home. It may look like cooking at home, wearing simple clothes, delaying upgrades, and investing money that other people spend. It may look like someone who could afford something expensive but chooses not to purchase it yet. That does not attract as much attention online. There is no dramatic photograph of an automatic investment contribution. There is no applause for avoiding high-interest debt. Nobody stops you in the street to compliment your emergency fund. But these quiet decisions create strength. The person trying to look wealthy asks, what will impress people today? The person building wealth asks, what will create more freedom 10 years from now? One question creates consumption. The other creates ownership. This is also why comparing yourself with other people can become extremely expensive. You may compare your real financial situation with someone else's carefully selected image. You see the vacation but not the debt. You see the vehicle but not the payment. You see the house but not the mortgage. You see the business revenue but not the expenses. You see the successful announcement but not the years of failure. Comparison gives you incomplete information and encourages complete financial decisions. Instead of copying someone's lifestyle, study their financial structure. Do they own assets? Do they control a profitable business? Do they have recurring income? Do they maintain low personal expenses? Do they have liquidity? Do they understand risk? Or are they simply earning and spending large amounts of money? The difference may not be visible, but it determines who remains wealthy when conditions change. Here is the first practical shift. Create a private definition of success. Decide what money should do for you. Perhaps success means having enough savings to leave a harmful job. Perhaps it means supporting your parents. Perhaps it means owning your home. Perhaps it means having time for your children. Perhaps it means traveling without using debt. Perhaps it means building a business. Perhaps it means not feeling afraid every time an unexpected bill arrives. When your definition is clear, you become less vulnerable to other people's definitions. And that protects your money. But controlling appearances is only the beginning. The next truth explains why wealthy people spend so much time thinking about ownership. Hashtag the rich buy assets before they buy luxury. Most people work for money and then spend that money on consumption. Wealthy people often use part of their money to purchase assets that can produce more money. An asset is something that has the potential to generate income, increase in value, or strengthen your financial position. Examples may include diversified investments, profitable businesses, income-producing real estate, intellectual property, software, equipment used to generate revenue, or ownership in productive companies. Not every asset rises in value. Not every business succeeds. Not every property produces profit. There is always risk. But the central idea remains powerful. Wealth grows through ownership. Suppose two people each receive a $10,000 bonus. The first person uses the entire bonus as a down payment on a luxury car. The second person keeps part as an emergency reserve, invests part, and uses the remainder to purchase equipment for a small business. 1 year later, the first person still has the car, but it may be worth less. The monthly expenses continue. The second person may now own investments and a business tool that generates additional income. The same amount of money entered both lives. But the money was given different jobs. One person used money mainly to increase appearance. The other used money to increase capacity. This is one of the most important wealthy habits. Every dollar should have a purpose. Some money pays for survival. Some money creates enjoyment. Some money protects against emergencies. Some money builds ownership. Some money creates opportunities. The problem is not spending. The problem is spending without understanding which category the money belongs to. You need food, shelter, transportation, healthcare, education, and moments of enjoyment. Life should not become a punishment in the name of financial discipline. But when every available dollar is used for immediate consumption, the future receives nothing. The rich understand that an asset can eventually pay for the luxury. Imagine wanting a $20,000 vacation. One approach is to save your salary until you can pay for it. Another approach is to build or purchase an asset that produces enough additional income to cover the trip. The second approach may require more patience, but it preserves the original capital. Instead of consuming the tree, you consume some of the fruit. This principle can be applied at different income levels. You do not need to be wealthy before purchasing assets. You can begin with small investment contributions. You can start a simple service business. You can purchase a tool that allows you to earn more money. You can create a digital product. You can develop a skill that increases your earning capacity. Your education and skills can function like productive assets when they create future income. But there is a warning. Many people call something an investment because they want to justify buying it. An expensive computer is not automatically an investment. If you use it to build software, edit videos, serve clients, or create products, it may support income generation. If you mainly use it for entertainment, it is a consumer purchase. A vehicle is not automatically an investment because you drive to work. A course is not automatically an investment because it contains information. A business idea is not automatically an asset because you created a logo. The question is not what you call the purchase. The question is what the purchase actually produces. Does it generate income? Does it save meaningful time? Does it improve your professional value? Does it reduce a significant risk? Does it have a reasonable chance of increasing in value? Can you measure the result? This type of thinking prevents emotional purchases from being disguised as financial strategy. Now consider another powerful concept. Wealthy people often delay luxury, but they do not always eliminate it. They create an order. Assets first. Luxury later. The average person may purchase the luxury and hope to build assets someday. The wealth builder purchases assets and allows them to finance future choices. The order matters. A person who invests first and spends what remains is likely to build more wealth than someone who spends first and invests whatever remains. Usually, very little remains. Automation can help. When income arrives, automatically direct a percentage towards savings or investments before optional spending begins. This removes part of the emotional decision. You are not trying to become disciplined 30 times every month. You design a system once. Systems are important because willpower is unreliable. When you are tired, stressed, excited, or influenced by other people, your decisions change. A system protects you from temporary emotions. And the wealthy use systems not only for investing. They use them for earning, spending, taxes, risk, and business operations. That brings us to the next hidden truth. Hashtag wealth is built through systems, not motivation. Motivation feels powerful. You watch a video, read a book, hear a speech, or experience a financial problem. Suddenly, you decide everything will change. You create a budget. You open an investment account. You promise to stop spending unnecessarily. You decide to wake up early, start a business, learn a new skill, exercise, and transform your entire life. For several days, you feel unstoppable. Then reality returns. You become tired. Unexpected expenses appear. The business idea becomes difficult. Learning feels slow. Friends invite you to spend money. The market declines. Motivation disappears. Without a system, the old behavior returns. Wealthy people understand that financial progress cannot depend entirely on how inspired you feel. They build structures that make good decisions easier and bad decisions more difficult. A simple system might include automatic transfers on payday. Part goes toward essential expenses. Part goes into an emergency reserve. Part goes toward investing. Part goes toward education or business development. Part can be used for enjoyment. The percentages depend on your situation. The principle is that money is directed intentionally before it disappears. Another system is a weekly financial review. You look at income, expenses, debts, upcoming bills, business performance, and investment contributions. This may take less than an hour. But it prevents small problems from becoming large problems. Many people avoid checking their finances because the truth creates anxiety. But the lack of information creates even more danger. You cannot improve what you refuse to measure. Businesses understand this. A company may track revenue, profit margins, customer acquisition costs, retention, inventory, payroll, taxes, and cash reserves. Why should your personal financial life operate without information? You need a personal financial dashboard. It does not have to be complicated. How much did you earn? How much did you spend? How much did you invest? How much debt did you reduce? How did your net worth change? What large expenses are approaching? What financial risk needs attention? Those questions create awareness. Awareness creates better decisions. A third system involves rules. Rules reduce decision fatigue. You might create a rule that you wait 72 hours before making any unplanned purchase above a specific amount. You might decide that every increase in income will be divided between investing, lifestyle improvement, and business development. You might decide never to carry high-interest credit card debt. You might decide not to lend money you cannot afford to lose. You might decide to research every investment before committing money. You might decide that no single customer should represent more than a certain percentage of your business revenue. Rules protect you when emotions are strong. During a market boom, a rule prevents you from risking everything. During a market decline, a rule prevents panic. During a period of high income, a rule prevents extreme lifestyle inflation. During a family crisis, a reserve prevents desperate borrowing. Systems create consistency. And consistency is more powerful than occasional intensity. Saving one large amount once is helpful. Saving automatically every month is stronger. Learning intensely for one weekend is useful. Practicing for 1 hour every day can change your career. Contacting one potential client is a beginning. Building a repeatable sales process creates a business. The rich do not always have more motivation. They often have better structures. But those structures serve a larger objective. They help protect the most valuable resource you own: your time. Hashtag the rich understand that time is more valuable than money. Money can be lost and earned again. Time cannot. Once an hour is gone, it cannot be recovered. This is why wealthy people often become increasingly focused on buying back their time. At the beginning of a career, you may need to exchange time for money. You work a job. You provide a service. You complete tasks. You are paid for your effort. There is nothing wrong with this. It is how most people begin. The problem appears when your income remains completely tied to your personal hours. There is a limit to how many hours you can work. Even if you work 16 hours per day, your capacity is restricted. You may increase your hourly rate, but your time remains finite. The wealthy search for leverage. Leverage allows one unit of effort to create a larger result. Technology is leverage. Media is leverage. Capital is leverage. A team is leverage. A brand is leverage. A system is leverage. Software is leverage. A video can be watched by thousands of people. A book can be purchased many times. Software can serve multiple customers. A trained employee can perform a process. Invested capital can produce returns. A brand can make customers trust a product before speaking directly with the owner. Leverage separates your results from your personal working hours. But leverage should not be confused with laziness. Creating a scalable system often requires more effort at the beginning. Writing a book may take hundreds of hours. Building software may take years. Training a team requires patience. Creating a trusted brand can take a decade. The difference is that the work can continue producing value after the initial effort ends. This is why wealthy people ask different questions. The average worker asks, "How can I make more money this month?" The wealth builder also asks, "What can I create this month that may continue producing value for years?" The answer could be a business process. It could be a product. It could be an audience. It could be a professional reputation. It could be a portfolio. It could be a relationship. It could be a skill. It could be invested capital. This does not mean every hour must be productive. Rest, family, friendship, health, and enjoyment matter. The purpose of wealth is not to turn life into endless work. The purpose is to create greater choice over how your time is used. Money is valuable because it can purchase options. It can help you move. It can help you leave. It can help you recover. It can help you learn. It can help you support people. It can help you say no. The person with no savings may be forced to accept any job, any schedule, and almost any working condition. The person with a reserve has more negotiating power. The person with investments and multiple income sources has even more flexibility. This is why an emergency fund is not simply cash. It is time. If you have 6 months of essential expenses saved, you may have 6 months to find another job, recover from an illness, rebuild a business, or make a careful decision. Savings purchase decision-making time. Debt can do the opposite. Debt sells future time. When you borrow money, part of your future income is already committed. You are promising that your future labor will pay for today's decision. Sometimes the trade may be worthwhile. Education, a business, a home, or equipment may create enough value to justify responsible borrowing. But consumer debt often exchanges future freedom for temporary pleasure. Every payment reduces the number of choices available to the future version of you. Ask yourself a powerful question before taking on debt: how many hours of my future life am I promising for this purchase? Do not calculate using your gross income. Calculate using the amount you keep after taxes and essential expenses. A $10,000 purchase may require far more than $10,000 of earnings. When you see purchases in units of life rather than monthly payments, your decisions change. The wealthy also protect time through delegation. They identify tasks that someone else can perform effectively and compare the cost with the value of their own time. If your time can produce $100 per hour doing specialized work, spending 5 hours on a low-value task may cost more than hiring help. But delegation only makes sense when the saved time is used well. Paying someone to perform a task so you can spend 5 additional hours scrolling on your phone is not productive leverage. Paying someone to handle administrative work while you serve customers, create products, rest, or spend meaningful time with family may be valuable. The objective is not to appear important. The objective is to allocate time according to value. And this brings us to another truth that many people discover only after losing money. The rich focus on protecting money, not only making money attracts attention. Protecting money appears less exciting. People celebrate the entrepreneur who generates millions in revenue. They rarely celebrate the person who managed risk, paid taxes correctly, purchased insurance, diversified income, created contracts, and avoided financial disaster. But creating wealth and keeping wealth are different skills. A person can become rich through concentration. They may invest all their time and capital into one business. That focus can create rapid growth. But remaining wealthy often requires diversification and protection. If all your income comes from one employer, you have concentration risk. If one client represents 80% of your business revenue, you have concentration risk. If your net worth depends on one property, one company, one investment, or one person, you have concentration risk. Concentration can produce large rewards. It can also produce large losses. The wealthy ask, what could destroy this? That question may sound negative, but it is practical. What happens if the market changes? What happens if a key customer leaves? What happens if you become unable to work? What happens if a business partner disappears? What happens if your property is damaged? What happens if technology makes your skill less valuable? What happens if your information is stolen? What happens if you face a legal dispute? You cannot eliminate every risk, but you can prepare for many of them. An emergency reserve protects against unexpected expenses. Insurance transfers certain risks. Contracts clarify expectations. Diversified investments reduce dependence on one asset. Multiple customers reduce dependence on one buyer. Updated skills reduce career risk. Cybersecurity protects information. Legal and tax professionals can help prevent expensive mistakes. A succession plan protects a business if the owner becomes unavailable. Protection is part of wealth building. Taxes also matter. Many people focus only on how much they earn before taxes. Wealthy people pay attention to what remains after taxes, fees, interest, inflation, and expenses. A business earning $1 million in revenue is not necessarily highly profitable. A person earning a high salary may keep far less than expected. An investment producing a strong return may become less attractive after fees and taxes. This does not mean avoiding taxes illegally. It means understanding the rules and planning responsibly. Tax laws vary by country and change over time, so qualified professional guidance can be valuable. Ignoring taxes does not make them disappear. It can create penalties, interest, and legal problems. Another form of protection is liquidity. Liquidity means having access to money when you need it. You may have a high net worth but very little available cash. Perhaps most of your wealth is inside a business or property. If an urgent expense appears, you may be forced to borrow or sell an asset at a bad time. Wealthy people often balance growth with liquidity. Cash usually produces lower long-term returns than productive assets, but it provides flexibility. The right balance depends on your responsibilities, income stability, business risks, and goals. The key is not to keep everything in cash. The key is to avoid becoming asset-rich and cash-poor. Reputation is another asset worth protecting. A strong reputation can take years to build and moments to damage. Customers, employers, investors, and partners want to work with people they trust. Do what you promise. Communicate clearly. Do not hide problems. Do not exaggerate results. Do not sacrifice long-term credibility for short-term profit. Money lost can sometimes be earned again. Trust is more difficult to recover. And now we reach a truth that explains why financial opportunities are not distributed equally. #The rich understand the power of information and relationships. Money often follows information. The person who recognizes a trend early may find an opportunity before the market becomes crowded. The person who understands a customer's problem may create a valuable solution. The person who knows which skill is becoming important can prepare before demand increases. The person who receives an introduction may meet a partner, investor, employer, or client they could never have reached alone. This is why wealthy people often invest in information and relationships. They read. They study industries. They speak with experts. They attend events. They join professional communities. They ask questions. They observe what customers are doing. They look for changes in technology, regulation, culture, and behavior. But more information is not always better. The internet provides endless financial opinions. One person says to buy. Another says to sell. One predicts a boom. Another predicts collapse. One recommends real estate. Another recommends technology. Another recommends cash, gold, cryptocurrencies, businesses, or international markets. Consuming more opinions can create confusion instead of wisdom. High-quality information is specific, verifiable, relevant, and connected to a decision. Ask where the information came from. Ask whether the person sharing it has a financial incentive. Ask whether the evidence supports the conclusion. Ask whether the advice applies to your situation. Ask what risks are being ignored. Never confuse confidence with accuracy. Someone can speak with complete certainty and still be completely wrong. Financial scams often depend on confidence. The scammer makes the opportunity sound simple, urgent, exclusive, and guaranteed. They may tell you that only intelligent people understand. They may say you must decide immediately. They may display luxury objects as proof. They may use complicated language to prevent questions. They may promise unusually high returns with little or no risk. Those are warning signs. Real opportunities can exist, but every investment involves trade-offs and uncertainty. The more someone pressures you to stop thinking, the more carefully you should think. Relationships also influence wealth. This does not mean using people. It means understanding that trust and cooperation create opportunities. A good relationship can lead to a recommendation. A recommendation can lead to a client. A client can lead to a business. A business can create employment, profit, and ownership. A trusted partner may bring skills you do not have. A mentor may help you avoid an expensive error. A peer may share information about an opportunity. A customer may explain a problem that becomes your next product. Networking is not collecting names. It is creating a history of positive interactions. Be useful. Be reliable. Share information. Make introductions. Support good work. Ask thoughtful questions. Keep your promises. Do not contact people only when you need something. Relationships grow through consistency. The wealthy often understand that opportunities move through networks. Many jobs are filled through recommendations. Many investments are shared privately before becoming widely known. Many partnerships begin through mutual connections. Many business deals depend on trust. Skill gets you into the room. Reputation determines whether people invite you back. But there is a deeper truth behind information, relationships, ownership, and leverage. The rich understand that money rewards value, not effort alone. Working hard is not enough. Hard work matters. Discipline matters. Persistence matters. But the market does not pay everyone according to how exhausted they become. A person can work extremely hard in a low-value activity and earn very little. Another person can create a system that solves an expensive problem and earn much more with fewer hours. This may feel unfair, but understanding it allows you to make better decisions. Money tends to flow toward value that is rare, useful, trusted, and scalable. A surgeon may be paid highly because the skill requires years of training and carries enormous responsibility. A salesperson may earn large commissions because they generate significant revenue. A programmer may create software used by thousands of customers. An entrepreneur may build a system that coordinates people, capital, technology, and distribution. A creator may produce media that attracts millions of viewers. The amount of physical effort is not the only factor. The value, rarity, reach, and ownership structure matter. This means you should not only ask, "How can I work harder?" Ask, "How can I solve a more valuable problem?" Ask, "How can I become difficult to replace?" Ask, "How can I serve more people?" Ask, "How can I own part of the result?" Ask, "How can I create something once and distribute it many times?" Ask, "How can I move closer to revenue?" Skills connected directly to revenue, cost reduction, risk prevention, and business growth are often highly valued. If your work helps a company earn or save $1 million, paying you $100,000 may appear reasonable. If your contribution is difficult to measure or replace, your negotiating position is weaker. This does not mean every important profession is paid fairly. Many essential workers are underpaid. Market compensation is influenced by supply, demand, institutions, bargaining power, geography, and many other factors. But from a personal strategy perspective, you should understand how value is measured in your field. What outcomes matter? What problems are expensive? What skills are rare? What evidence can prove your results? What positions provide ownership or performance-based compensation? How can you move from performing tasks to producing outcomes? This shift can transform a career. An employee who only follows instructions may be viewed as a cost. An employee who solves problems, improves systems, trains others, generates revenue, or prevents losses becomes more valuable. Document your results. Do not simply say you worked hard. Show what changed. Did sales increase? Did costs fall? Did customer satisfaction improve? Did projects finish faster? Did errors decline? Did engagement rise? Did you create a repeatable process? Evidence strengthens your ability to negotiate. The same principle applies in business. Customers do not care how many hours you spent creating a service. They care about the result. A designer may spend 10 hours on a logo. Another may spend 3 hours. The value depends less on time and more on quality, strategic impact, reputation, and customer need. Stop automatically pricing your work only by the hour. Hourly pricing may be appropriate in many situations, but it can punish efficiency. As you become faster and better, you earn less for completing the same result in less time. Value-based pricing, project pricing, subscriptions, licensing, commissions, or equity may sometimes create better alignment. Each model has risks and is not suitable for every situation. But wealthy people pay attention to how compensation is structured. The structure can matter as much as the amount. A salary pays you for your role. Commission pays you for results. Equity pays you when ownership increases in value. Royalties pay you when intellectual property is used. Subscriptions create recurring revenue. Licensing allows other people to use an asset under agreed conditions. The rich search for ways to participate in the upside. That may be the most important money principle of all. ## the rich do not only work for money, they own the upside. Imagine helping build a company for 10 years. You work long hours. You solve difficult problems. You help attract customers. You improve the product. The company becomes extremely valuable. If you only received a salary, your financial benefit was limited to your compensation. If you also owned part of the company, your benefit may increase with the company's value. This is ownership. Ownership allows you to participate in growth. That is why equity can be so powerful. It is also risky. A company can fail. Shares can lose value. A private business may be difficult to sell. Never assume equity is guaranteed money. But without ownership, your upside is usually limited. This principle applies beyond startups. You can own shares in public companies through diversified investments. You can own a small business. You can own intellectual property. You can own a brand. You can own a website, software product, media library, or product catalog. You can own real estate. You can own systems that generate cash flow. The wealthy often spend years accumulating ownership. The average person accumulates payments. One group collects assets. The other collects obligations. Again, the difference may be invisible at first. The person building assets may look less successful. They reinvest profits. They delay luxury. They work on projects nobody understands. They live below their means. The person collecting obligations may look wealthy immediately. They have new vehicles, new electronics, new furniture, and expensive experiences. Time reveals the difference. Assets can begin producing income. Obligations continue demanding income. Ownership changes your relationship with work. Without assets, you must continue working to maintain your life. With productive assets, part of your financial life may continue without your direct labor. This does not necessarily mean you stop working. Many wealthy people continue working because they enjoy building, creating, competing, or contributing. The difference is that work becomes more optional. That is financial freedom. Not the absence of effort. The presence of choice. But ownership requires patience. Most assets are not built in a weekend. A business takes time to develop. An audience takes time to trust you. A portfolio takes time to grow. A reputation takes time to strengthen. Investments need time to compound. Skills need time to become valuable. This is why the rich think in longer time frames. Hashtag the wealthy think in decades. Most financial decisions feel small in the moment. One unnecessary purchase. 1 month without investing. One new payment. One missed learning opportunity. 1 year delaying a business idea. One decision to remain in a comfortable but stagnant position. Individually, these decisions may not appear important. Repeated for 10 years, they can shape your entire financial life. The wealthy understand compounding. Compounding is not limited to investment returns. Skills compound. Relationships compound. Knowledge compounds. Reputation compounds. Business systems compound. Audiences compound. Healthy habits compound. Bad decisions also compound. Debt compounds. Neglected health compounds. Poor reputation compounds. Lifestyle inflation compounds. Years of avoiding financial reality compound. Every repeated decision creates direction. Imagine improving a valuable skill for 1 hour each day. After 1 week, the change may be invisible. After 1 year, you may be significantly more capable. After 5 years, you may be operating at a professional level. The same is true of investing. A small monthly contribution may feel meaningless, but the habit becomes stronger. Your income may increase. Your contributions may increase. Potential returns may begin producing additional growth. The early stage is slow. Then momentum becomes visible. This is why impatience is expensive. People abandon good strategies because the results are not immediate. They change careers too quickly. They close businesses before learning from the market. They sell investments during temporary declines. They chase trends. They purchase courses but never practice. They expect 10 years of results in 10 weeks. Wealth usually grows slowly before it grows quickly. A business may struggle for years before finding the right product. A creator may publish hundreds of videos before building an audience. An investor may see modest progress before accumulated capital becomes meaningful. A professional may study for years before receiving a major opportunity. The outside world sees the breakthrough. It rarely sees the preparation. Thinking in decades also improves decision-making. A decision that looks attractive for 1 month may be terrible for 10 years. A decision that feels difficult today may create enormous long-term value. Taking time to develop a skill may reduce income temporarily but increase future earning power. Reinvesting business profits may delay personal rewards but strengthen the company. Living below your means may feel less exciting but create flexibility. Protecting your reputation may require rejecting short-term money. The 10-year question is powerful. If I repeat this decision, where will it take me? Repeat this purchase. Repeat this debt. Repeat this habit. Repeat this investment. Repeat this type of relationship. Repeat this work. Repeat this way of thinking. Where will it lead? One decision rarely destroys a financial future. Patterns do. And patterns can be changed. Hashtag the truth. The rich rarely say clearly the deepest truth about wealth is not that rich people know a secret investment. It is that they organize their lives around ownership, leverage, time, and long-term value. They may still make mistakes. They may still lose money. Some wealthy people inherited advantages that others never received. Some benefited from education, connections, geography, timing, family support, or simple luck. It would be dishonest to pretend everyone begins from the same position. They do not. A person born into poverty faces obstacles that someone born into wealth may never experience. Health, discrimination, family responsibilities, political instability, access to banking, education, and economic conditions all affect financial opportunity. But unequal starting points do not make financial principles useless. They make strategy even more important. You may not control where you begin. You can still work to improve where you are going. The practical lessons are clear. Do not confuse income with wealth. Track what you own and what you owe. Do not build your financial life around impressing people. Purchase assets before luxury whenever possible. Create automatic systems instead of depending on motivation. Treat time as a limited resource. Look for ethical forms of leverage. Protect your money, reputation, health, and earning capacity. Invest in useful skills and trustworthy relationships. Focus on outcomes, not effort alone. Search for ownership and ways to participate in the upside. Think in years and decades. And most importantly, give your money a purpose. Money without direction disappears. Money directed toward assets can create options. Money directed toward protection can create stability. Money directed toward skills can create earning power. Money directed toward meaningful experiences can create a better life. The goal is not to keep every dollar forever. The goal is to use money consciously instead of allowing money to control you. Here is the first step. Calculate your net worth. Write down the value of what you own. Write down everything you owe. Do not judge yourself. Do not compare the number with someone else's number. This is your starting point. Next, examine the last 30 days of spending. Which expenses supported your life? Which created genuine happiness? Which increased your value? Which were driven by boredom, pressure, or status? Then choose one action. Reduce one unnecessary obligation. Create one automatic transfer. Pay extra toward one destructive debt. Begin learning one high-value skill. Contact one potential customer. Invest a small amount after creating an appropriate financial foundation. Build one asset. You do not need to transform your entire life today. You need to begin moving in a better direction. Financial freedom is not created by one dramatic moment. It is created when hundreds of decisions begin supporting the same objective. Earn. Keep. Protect. Invest. Own. Repeat. The rich may not always explain these principles because the truth is less exciting than the fantasy. There is no secret button. There is no guaranteed investment. There is no magical business. There is no shortcut that removes discipline, patience, risk, and responsibility. But there is a path. And the path becomes clearer when you stop asking how to look wealthy and begin asking how to build ownership, freedom, and control over your time. Comment below with the one financial habit you are changing this month. Then watch the next video, where we will break down how to turn a normal income into a system that builds assets automatically even if you feel like there is never enough money left at the end of the month. Because the amount you earn matters. But what you do with it determines what your future becomes.